This is going to be a really super short and sweet video, a bit of a continuation of the Bagua circle walking video that I did a year ago or whenever it was, which was very well received. Lately though, I wrote an extension to that was part of a much larger discussion based on my newest film, which is the Tai Chi Old Ox Power film that has a lot of other stuff in there. So I wrote on the blog, just as text, not as a video, some comments and elaborations on that that are strictly related really to that film. But in passing, I talked about a similar effect, or really a balanced, almost opposite effect, but tightly related effect that you can bring out of your Bagua circle walking. So it's a complementary feature of that system that ties in. It's not the same thing, but it ties in with the Old Ox material. Anyway, I mentioned that in passing, and I got a whole bunch of questions, which can be summarized as two categories. One is, how come you didn't mention that in the early Bagua video? And the second question was, what the hell are you talking about? I don't even understand it. So the second question answers the first question, right? Because I didn't put it in the first video because I didn't think anyone would understand it. You're not ready for it, or you don't care, or you're too physicalized, you're into calisthenics and showing off your body and shit like that. So why bother? But since people are asking, and since I did bring it up, it's my fault, I want to just go ahead and explain that. And it's easy enough to explain. It's very simple in concept. It's just an extension of what I already mentioned in the previous Bagua film for the circle walking, a way to energetically amp, like super amp, the Bagua circle walking. And this is just a logical extension of that. And it's quite easy in practice once you get the hang, once you've heard about it, first of all, and once you try it a little bit and get the knack of it, you'll see exactly what I mean. And it'll blow your energy right through the stratosphere. You'll feel you went right straight through the roof. That's how good it is. So I will introduce that quickly, and then I'll leave it to you to try to practice that and see if you can figure out what I'm talking about. All right, let's begin with a very quick and dirty, super slobby review of the highlights of the Bagua video. You really have to go back and watch the original Bagua video, okay? I can't replicate the whole thing here. If you haven't watched it, you shouldn't even be interested in watching this. You shouldn't care at all. It means nothing to you, right? Okay. So I'm going to assume you know that. But the basic idea of that was very simple. It's that you have a counter twist. As you walk, everyone knows walking a circle. If you don't know that, forget this. Get out of here. You walk the circle, right? It's typical Bagua. 8 steps, turn, 8 steps again. Don't worry, there's 64 different ways to change your direction, but who cares, right? One is good enough. Okay, so you're walking, and the whole point of the other video was that you have this counter rotation going on, okay? So you're walking in a certain direction, but your waist, hip, basically your hips and pelvis, I should say, are going in the opposite direction. Now, going in this case doesn't really mean that you actually do it like a hula dancer or a judo player or something. You're not actually physically really doing anything, but you're feeling that you're doing it, as though something is blocking you from turning out. So you say you're going counterclockwise, like I would be right now. My waist and hips will have the feeling of trying to turn away from the stepping and walking direction. All right? So that was part of it. So stepping, walking direction is one way. Hips and pelvis are feeling, not really, or it's going to be ridiculous, right? You're going to wreck your walk. But feeling that they're going this way, but something is softly stopping them, okay? And then, in your imagination only, what is stopping them is that your upper assembly, your arm assembly, basically this arm is in the best position to imagine that. But it could even be the entire upper arm assembly. That is stopping it. So you have a handle here that won't let this rotation happen, because this guy is going just like the feet with the circle. So you've got with the circle, away from the circle, out of the circle, and back into the circle. And so they are balanced so that nothing actually happens. All that happens is you just walk your circle. Change and do the same thing on the other side, so that now I'd be walking clockwise. My waist and hips would be going the other way. And this arm would be, in my mind, energetically, don't get all physical on me, would be opposing that. Okay, you should know that from the other video. I can't really go through it all now. The only refinement point I was making that I did not really make strongly or at all in the other video is about the lower body. You can treat the lower body not just as the obvious, it's the power engine of this, right? I mean, you're actually walking, so you're the way you turn your feet determines the circle direction. That's obvious. Now, to energy supercharge this, you need to think of your legs, okay? Think of your legs as another unit together, and they're going to do the same thing together, okay? So they're almost like one unit, and that means from the femoral joint down, okay? Because from the femoral joint up belongs to your hips and pelvis, so that's going to go a different direction. Now, as you walk, you need to actually feel that your leg is actually turning. The muscles, the meat, the skin, the bones, and here you might want to get a little bit physical, to actually feel that physically, or even sort of do that physically without tensing up. But try to almost do that. Try to actually rotate your leg a little bit, just the leg. That's why it's good to walk in a smaller circle at first, because the smaller circle, I mean, not like 1 square foot, but pretty small, because that will force you to pay attention to the fact that you can almost physically feel that you're really rotating that meat and those bones. Rotate. It doesn't matter the outer or the inner foot, same. Feel that they're rotating into the walk, okay? Because we're dealing with the legs, make it almost physical. It's slightly exaggerated at first, that you're almost like you're actually doing something with that leg as you step. So in the previous video, I didn't get into this because I knew nobody would understand it, so I just talked about step. And I talked about the flatness of the foot. That's the same. When you step, your foot will land flat because your foot is relaxed, right? If your foot is relaxed, you're not doing this, you're not doing this, all the crazy ways that people have to step in Bagua, none of them matter. All that matters is that you relax as you extend your foot. But that's not the point of this video. Keep that part the same. The point of this video is to the feeling, the almost or even physical feeling of turning that leg and the inside leg as you step. Now, what's going to happen is this leg is almost physically turning into it. So that's really going that way. It's not just the external way of the direction you're walking. It's internal to the unit itself. It's turning into that, okay? Now, what's happening internal to this unit, just like before, it's going outward in your mind, okay? Obviously, you can't really do it physically or you'll wreck the walk. But this one you can almost do physically, and the outer leg too, both. Now, the upper assembly is the same as before. It's going, just like the legs, in the same direction. So it's almost physically rotating into it. So now you've really got a real contradistinction here, where the bottom unit, which is the two legs together, are rotating. I mean, really feel that rotation. Just almost do it physically, okay? Extra at first, until you understand. So as you walk, these guys are turning in that direction. This guy is turning, or feeling that it is. You can't wreck your walk, but feeling that it's trying to go away from the direction. Away from, so this waist is going that way, and my legs are going the same as my bottom pointer finger, okay? So this is going that way, this is going that way, all right? And then the upper side is going in this direction. It's going with the way the foot's going. See, here we have a contradiction, right? We have the centerpiece going in a different direction from the top and bottom pieces. Top and bottom pieces are going together. Centerpiece is going the opposite way. Keep that feeling. And then when you change, for one moment, everything will go the same way, right? Obviously, because you change, it all turns into the new direction. And then as you come around, you start again with the counter lock, all right? Anyway, walk this way for maybe 8 circles is good, just to stick with our Bagua theme. Bagua means 8. And then do some quiet standing, and that will equalize you throughout your body, and it'll blow you